If you want to understand a little bit more about how God is working in the midst of crazy times, if you want to understand a little bit more about your own sinfulness and your own inward draw towards idols, Second Kings is going to be a great study for you and for your life group. We're continuing our summer study in the book of Kings, originally written most likely by Jeremiah as one book. First and Second Kings as we have now as two, written to a group of exiles, faithful exiles, and some unfaithful exiles, who were questioning: was God just in sending us into the exile of Babylon? What happened to the covenant? What happened to all of these different things? And Jeremiah writes First and Second Kings as kind of the historical um, argument, saying that God was just and that Israel and Judah kind of got what they deserve. So as we begin this study, we'll work through pretty much through the life of Elisha, and then have a prayer lesson at the end. So this week's lesson, though, however, is we're wrapping up Elijah's narrative, and we will see him and this week and next week will be the last 2 weeks where we're focusing in on Elijah and before he's taken up. But this is a unique story where Ahaziah, Ahab's son, is sick, and he does what a lot of us do in trials: is he looks outside of God for help, and that's where Elijah steps in and says, "You're not going to recover from this." And Ahaziah, in his pride, which we also struggle with, says, "I have more authority over myself and my life than this prophet does, and than the word of God does." So he sends to kill Elijah with some captains, and they too demonstrate with pride until the third demonstrates humility. But we can learn a lot from this. And one of the things I was talking with a life group leader today, or a couple of days ago, was the kings. We may look at it and go, "Man, they're just all horrible," and really most of them are. But what they do is they hold up a mirror into the inner workings of our own soul. And like the prophet Nathan, who tells the parable to David, who is enraged by the injustice of the story that Nathan is telling him, he then looks at David and says, "David, you are the man." And Kings kind of works like that, is that we look at these kings and we think, man, they are just horrendous. But then the Spirit of God looks at us, he goes, "But you are the man." So all of these sins that we see in these people, we're capable of, we struggle with, but throughout this, not only is it just about us, it's not about us. It's about how God is being revealed, but it's about how we respond to Him or do not respond to Him in faith, and it can help us grow in our faith in the Lord. Because it's telling us a story about God, that He is unique and jealous for His glory. It's contrasting Him over and over and over again. You'll see God revealing Himself to be powerful, more powerful, much more powerful than the idols of the world. I love that the name that they use there for Baal can be used as Lord of the Flies. And I love this quote from Paul House. It says, "What Baal can only do in mythology, Yahweh can do in history." Now, with idols, it may be difficult for us to think about what idols are. I know we talk about that a lot in my curriculums. They come up, and I think curriculums is the right way to say the plural form of curriculum, but it's what it is. But you can look right here, and you can see an idol inventory. Get your people to do that. Do it yourself. I haven't, it's been a while since I've looked at this. I'll work through it this week too. But this is going to be something that's going to be very helpful in the long run. We're going to be working through this for 12 weeks. Working, idols will come up often, but you really need that amount of time to deal with the idols of a heart. It takes searching, it takes prayer, it takes going to the cross day in and day out. So work through these questions and think, and get your people thinking about what idols are in your life. And at the end of the curriculum, we'll have some time to reflect over it. And then learn from this story. God is the supreme authority over all earthly authority, and God responds favorably to those who approach Him in humility. Obviously, in this story, we want to be like the third captain who approaches God, the Word of God, with humility and receives it and lives in that way.